We are back. Who's Your Band podcast with Sean Morton. Hello, Sean.
Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
Good to see you. And we have two special guests today.
Yes,
we have Marc Rizzo from the band Soulfly. Hello,
Hi,
Marc.
man.
How's it going? Thanks for coming down.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. And we have Damian Daniello, okay, fellow musician.
How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, our pleasure. How are you guys holding up during all this?
Doing all right. We're just listening to whatever we need to listen to, I guess. Staying home, not going anywhere. That's about it, I guess.
I go out. Every day. I don't give a shit. I got my Jägermeister bandana and fuck everybody. I don't care at all. I can't stay in this house. I go crazy.
Yeah, I'm digging being home. I'm used to always being on the road, touring all over the place. So usually when I'm home from tour, I usually just stay home and hang out, do my own thing anyway. So for me, this is normal to
It's great
be
though.
home and be quarantined.
You need a little downtime, right?
Marc,
Now I do.
Last show.
All my tours are canceled, so looks like I'll be home probably for about a year. It looks like I was supposed to be in Europe all summer, and that's canceled now. So I'm home.
So what are you doing to pass the time?
I just play guitar, write music, play guitar, jam, hit my gym in my garage. That's about it, So
do you know how infuriating it is to watch Marc Rizzo live on Facebook playing Sharp Dressed Man? Amazing. And I can't stand the speed of this guy's fingers. It's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. We're gonna talk a little bit about how there's a weird connection which you may not even know about, but I will bring that up later on. But where did you and Damian meet? In high school?
No, we grew up together.
Yeah, we grew up. He's a couple blocks away from me. We played football together as kids, and
nice.
Yeah,
Where'd you guys grow up?
Carlstadt,
New Jersey.
Yeah.
I used to date a girl from Carlstadt.
Yeah, didn't we all?
Yeah, we all did.
Were you guys in a high school band?
No, I didn't do band in high school. I stopped after middle school. Marc, you did though, didn't you?
Yeah, I was in the jazz band, concert band. Yeah, I did all that stuff in high school. Yep.
I didn't start playing music till I was 19. I started late.
Really?
So, yeah, I wanted to, but growing up, everything was about sports, in my area, and nobody I knew was, with the exception of like Marc, but there really weren't many people doing music, and all my friends were all jocks, so I didn't know the path to take. My brothers were jocks, so that's all we did was play sports. And
where'd you go to Beckton?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay.
What kind of stuff did you guys listen to growing up, like in high school?
Metal, Slayer, Overkill, a lot of metal, a lot of hardcore, a lot of all different types of music, really. I like anything that's got cool guitar playing in it, but definitely a lot of metal.
Did most kids around your way listen to that type of music?
Me, yeah. I grew up with all metalheads. Damian, I think Damian probably was a good kid and studying in school. I mean, I was going to metal shows. I grew up hanging out at Studio One in Newark, New Jersey, the Pipeline right around the corner, going to CBGBs, going to shows all the time. We were all metalheads, people I hung out with.
Yeah, I was totally opposite. I'm also a year older than him, so we weren't in the same class. But yeah, like I said, I was more like a sports guy. And then when I was in high school, what I listened to, I got caught up in that whole grunge thing, with the exception of Nirvana. I loved like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. Those are my favorite bands, but I really wasn't into like metal. I think the heaviest album I had when I was younger was probably Vulgar Display of Power or something like that when that came out in like 91. But I never listened to like any thrash metal or heavy stuff, So
very cool.
Yeah,
it's cool. Marc, Soulfly. I mean, I was listening to the music the last few days, and I kind of get like a vibe, like almost like a Korn type of sound. Were you influenced by a band like that?
Yeah, Korn's cool. We toured with them. We did Russia, 3 weeks all over Russia back in 2014, opening up for Korn, and we're friends with those guys. Yeah, they're great. They're a good band, I mean, they're a little bit later on when they came out. I'm more into the older school stuff from the early 80s.
Like what?
Overkill, Megadeth, Nuclear Assault, all the old school thrash metal bands. That's kind of what
That's really hard stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Back in the day, Overkill was taping a DVD special at the, I guess it was the convention hall in Asbury Park, and we went down there, and it was back in the day when I had sleep apnea, and I'm the only person in the world who fell asleep at an Overkill show because I did not sleep the night before, and they got it on video. So there's a video going around somewhere from Overkill, and you see this fat guy sitting in the top of the friggin' convention hall, passed out in the middle of elimination. I don't think that's ever happened before. It's never going to happen again either. But
Funny.
Mark, did you ever go down and hang out at L'Amour's? Was that around your time as well?
Yeah, I played there like once or twice. I mean, that was a little bit, trying to get to Brooklyn's a nightmare. But yeah, I always heard about all those great shows. That was a little bit before my time. I think I played there back in, my first time playing L'Amour's was 2001. I think I played there again in like 2003, and then I think they closed shortly after that.
yeah.
So I didn't really get to, L'Amour's too often.
So
I
what
played
were
there
the local
once.
joints that you played?
Locally, Studio One. That was my spot. I mean, anyone that grew up in this area of Jersey, Studio One was, it was a dangerous place to get to and to leave your car at. But definitely Studio One was the spot where I saw a lot of shows, and that was actually one of my first metal shows I ever played. Was at Studio One. It was like in 1994. My old death metal band, we opened up for Fear Factory, and every weekend Studio One had a killer show going on.
Oh, always. You could see Typo Negative, Life of Agony.
Yep. Yeah, I saw all those guys. Actually, the first time I ever saw Life of Agony was opening up for Typo Negative at Studio One, and I had never even heard it. That was before Life of Agony's first record even came out.
Yeah, that was probably like 92 or so. 92,
yeah, 93-ish, I think. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Is that kind of like a badge of honor for an up and coming band to open up for an established act like that? Kind of like the way a comedian would open up, like if like Sean and I would open up for, say, like Sebastian Maniscalco or someone of that magnitude.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially since I was just like a 16-year-old kid. So to be able to open up for the bands that I idolized, that was like really big to me back in those days. So it still is. I still get a kick out of touring with my favorite bands.
What's your favorite places to play? As comedians, there are certain cities that we always have a good time in. We look forward to going back to every year. How about yourself when you're on the road?
Anywhere in South America, man. Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Chile. I mean, I love anywhere south of the border. Mexico, Central America. I love it all down south, man. The fans are incredible. Most beautiful women in the world. And the food's incredible there. It's just, it's always a pleasure to go down south. It's my favorite place to be all over the world.
If I make it out of Hudson County, I'm happy. Jesus Christ.
Hudson County's cool too, man. That's where I like to try to hang out.
Jesus Christ.
Earlier, I was listening to some of the music, and a couple of songs that stood out to me. I really like the song "Prophecy." That's a great song with a. I wrote down, like, I love the intro to that song. It's a very cool intro and just like heavy stuff. And I like Back to the Primitive.
Nice.
Yeah,
those are probably two of the biggest songs for Soulfly.
I want to go back a little bit because I can remember seeing you play in the late 90s, early 2000s with El Nino and stuff. And we had our rehearsal studio in the same place at Factory Studios when I had my band. And
Factory Studios, yeah.
But I bet you didn't know this. We actually shared a wall.
Oh yeah.
We shared a wall, and I remember because you guys had the Step Kings in your studio as well. So I would always fuck around with Fern when I knew they were in there. I would crank the guitar up and I would start playing Friends from their first album on guitar. And he would start banging on the wall really hard, going, "Cut that shit out! That's our song." I used to get so like not envious, but I was so happy to see so many local bands from Jersey at that time, because that scene was really, really big, in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, not just you guys, with the Step Kings and guys like Point for Hope, Disney Fist, all those guys. I always felt were just like that close to being the next bands that were going to break out and get signed at that time.
Yeah, it was a great era, man. I was, it wasn't really my favorite era of music, but it was cool to be part of it. At that point, it was just cool to get out and do all those tours, gigs, and to get a record deal. So I definitely was very honored to be part of it.
Yeah, definitely.
It was an incredible time and a cool era, and it was a cool era because it was probably the last time you saw heavy music on MTV. and we wound up getting in regular rotation, which was incredible for me. It was just an amazing experience, especially for my first record deal, and that's that.
It's amazing how much the record industry has changed over the last, say, 15, 20 years.
Right. It really has. I mean, Damian, when you were
Mark have a stroke?
Yeah.
he totally dropped his camera. So we'll figure that out. But so Damian, when you're talking about going from the grunge era, right? Like I know you don't like Nirvana for some reason, which I think,
it just never. It's not that I don't like them. It's not that I don't like them. They weren't my favorite. Everyone loved Smells Like Teen Spirit, all that stuff, and that was like I guess the opening song that made everybody a big fan of that whole musical era. But for me, it didn't really make me want to listen to it. The song that got me really into all that stuff was Even Flow from Pearl Jam. And when I saw it the first time I saw that video, I think we lost Mark for a second there.
it's okay. We're getting back.
The first time I saw that video on MTV, I was like, wow, going from the 80s and listening to all those glam bands and the style of 80s music, which I still love to listen to. All of a sudden I saw this video and I was like, what's going on with music? And that's what made me really want to play music, and so that's where it started for me. And then just kind of branched off into, whatever.
And
that was a word of mouth. That was a word of mouth CD for me, the Pearl Jam one. Because I remember going on one of those like retreats that you have to go to in high school.
Yeah.
Kid, I wasn't even like really good friends with.
Wait, what kind of retreat did you have to go to?
A retreat, yeah. Well, I went to Catholic high school, so they make you go on.
Did you? Oh, you had to go on those. I didn't. That's right, St. Peter's, right?
Yeah, they go like on yearly retreats and stuff.
Yes, you had to go like on these religious retreats.
Sure. So like the first time I'm going, like this kid Matt, I wasn't like great friends with anybody, like I knew him, and he was like, "Dude, I know you love music. I need you this. You got to listen to it." And it was Pearl Jam.
He was trying to pick you up.
Very possible. It was an old boys school. Very possible.
It was.
But I heard that. And I was like, same thing. I was like, I heard, I had heard Alive. I thought that was great, but I always thought that Even Flow was the standout on that album.
It was just, again, they had
Jeremy on that album.
They had those 3 videos, for Alive and Oceans and Even Flow, and when they started playing them all the time, it was great, and that's when everything started booming. And of course, you had Smells Like Teen Spirit, you had all the Nirvana songs that were out there, and then little by little, like Alice in Chains started getting out there more, and Soundgarden started getting out there, and that just kind of hooked me in. By the time I was a sophomore in high school, that's what I wanted to listen to.
You're a big Alice in Chains guy, right?
I do really like Alice in Chains a lot. I absolutely do. They're
remember the first time you heard Man in the Box?
That's and going back to when MTV actually played videos, that video is just so odd. And watching Lane Staley in a chicken coop, grabbing the fence and just shaking it, and then the guy with the eyes that were sewn shut and he's walking around, it's like, what the heck is going on here? And that's going from 80s. Video killed the radio star type videos to that. I was like, what is going on? And I think that's what really hooked me into it, because I like metal music too, but I wasn't really nothing that, Mark used to listen to, none of that stuff. But, we did go, obviously Metallica was big back in the 80s, when they first started getting like really, really big, and I like them and stuff. But going from like 80s pop to I guess the grunge was such a huge leap for me, and it got my attention.
See, I had this argument with a friend of mine too all the time, that he doesn't think that Alice in Chains is a grunge band. He sees them more as a metal band.
You know what the argument is, that grunge doesn't really play solos. So if you have bands that they rip solos in their songs, it's not really grunge, it's more rock. And I think that was what they're like. Pearl Jam too, like they're more bluesy, blues rock with heavily influenced by Hendrix. I mean, a lot of those solos from Mike McCready or Hendrix, style. So it's hard to call them like a grunge band. But then you have a band like Nirvana where they're more like a punk, they have like punk elements and 3 chords and just 3 power chords, and that's it, and
Alice in Chains was a grunge band because they wore flannel and shorts on stage.
Yeah, probably.
That's a grunge band.
Yeah. I mean, I just personally though, I didn't really.
Come on, they were on the soundtrack of
singles.
Singles.
Yeah, that's
great
true.
song, right? Wood.
Yeah, and they were in the movie too. So
right. Come on, so they're grunge.
Yeah, no, I just, again, I wasn't really like, I didn't really worry about labeling them something. I was more like, I would rather just listen to it and enjoy it for what it is. So
sure.
Hard rock, grunge, whatever, it just made me feel good when I listened to it, so.
I also agree with that too. It's like, I noticed the difference very early on. Like I was a huge Nirvana fan, and then it definitely trailed off later on once you start realizing that the songs weren't really that technical and deep and stuff like that.
Well, come on, Sean, did you like the second album though? Did you like In Utero?
In Utero is my favorite of theirs, actually.
Me too. And
definitely my favorite.
Heart Shaped Box. Come on, that's a great song,
Yeah,
and a little bit of a departure of anything off the first album.
Yeah, I mean, Bleach was great, but like it didn't get a lot of play. You know, that was more of an underground thing. And then obviously Nevermind broke them out. But I always noticed the difference between like the Nirvana and then the Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. I kind of put them in two different camps. You know what I mean? Like for me, Soundgarden was more grunge and then definitely evolved a little bit.
Yeah, they definitely they branched out. Like whatever, you know. I love Chris Cornell, man. It's just a shame that he passed away. But when Soundgarden first came out, they can distinguish themselves from the rest. I think, you know. And it was Chris Cornell's voice that really did it. And I think that's what Alice in Chains too. With Lane Staley's voice, he just kind of was over and above and beyond everybody else. I felt, you know, at the time.
See, the beautiful thing I love about Alice in Chains too is, you know, people say, oh, you know, the new singer. First of all, people don't give enough credit when you listen to Alice in Chains that Jerry Cantrell was such an integral part of that band and the vocal part as well. Because his harmonies and even the songs that he sang, like you don't realize how much of a huge impact he had on that band.
Yeah, and I think that's it for me. The one reason why Alice in Chains is one of my favorites because of the harmonies. I mean, that's what really made them stand out to me. And even when I write now, like I'll write a song and I'll put 2 to 3 part harmonies in it just because I love doing it because of that, you know, because of listening to how Alice in Chains did it. So, and I think that they also, I mean, if you look at their Jar of Flies EP, if you listen to their Sap EP, I mean, it's all acoustic. It's so different, you know, like a song like Whale and Wasp, where it's all just instrumental. It's like, is that Alice in Chains? And then you hear a song like Wood, or you hear a song like Them Bones, and the way that they were able to just be so dynamic, but still be Alice in Chains. Like you knew it was them when they were on there, and you didn't mind that they had different songs. Like you wanted them to play all that different stuff, you know?
Yeah. I like the song. I like the album Dirt.
Yeah.
What's your favorite album off of Alice in Chains?
I think Jar of Flies is my favorite song from them. Is Nutshell. That's on there. But then again, Dirt was that was their catalyst. I mean, I had Facelift, and Facelift was awesome. That's with Man in the Box and everything, and had a lot of good songs on there, like Sunshine and Love Hate Love was another good song. But when Dirt came out, man, with Rooster and you know Down in a Hole, I mean, these songs are just fantastic songs. And like Sean said, when you got a guy like Jerry Cantrell, he's singing so much in some of those songs, and he's so underrated because he's overshadowed by Lane's voice, but without those other harmonies. Like if you listen to Jerry Cantrell's first solo album, I think it was Boggy Depot, it was called. If you listen to those songs, to me it seemed like those songs were written for Alice in Chains.
I 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, and you can hear Lane's parts in there, and it's so eerie because it's like he probably had those songs ready to go, and everything kind of fell apart, and he's just like, screw it, I'm just gonna put an album together. And you can, like I said, man, you can hear those parts when you think Lane's gonna start singing, and it's like, wow, he definitely wrote that. Because then his next album, I think it was the Degradation Trips. I think he had like the two volume CD, whatever. That was a little more, I think, just Jerry Cantrell. I think he wrote that a little different, but that's why I think
definitely.
Yeah, that's why I think that the Boggy Depot is definitely supposed to be an Alice in Chains album.
It's like I always notice the difference, like when Zakk Wylde writes his BLS stuff and then he writes his solo Zakk Wylde acoustic stuff. He makes a very big a line in the sand, because he's not going overly with the with the solos and stuff like that. And it's more of an acoustic driven thing. But yeah, you get, like when you hear "Cut You In," you definitely hear Lane was definitely written from at one point.
Yeah, absolutely. So and again, that just speaks to the dynamics of their musicianship and how they're just able to take like a heavy song and then write a nice softer song, not even like a ballad, but just strip it down a lot and make it acoustic, and it's still got power behind it, And I think that's what influenced me to pick up the guitar. First song I ever learned how to play was Nutshell, because it's a simple chord progression. Excuse me, and singing along to it. That was the first song I was able to sing and play, and I played the hell out of that song. I still do,
Did either one of you guys get to see Alice in Chains live?
Recently with this lineup, yes. I want to say maybe 4 years ago, we saw them, and a bunch of friends of mine and I saw them down in Atlantic City. Really, really I like the new singer. You know, I think he fits for what they're doing. Of course, you miss Lane Staley, but this guy, man, their first album, Black Gives Way to Blue, with this new guy, his name is escaping me for some reason.
William Duvall.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I couldn't think, because even William Duvall put out some solo stuff, and it's just different, you know, it's different stuff. But he can sing. The guy can sing in his own.
It's so hard. You know, it's so hard when you have a band whose singer is so dynamic and there's such a distinct sound, like,
which is why Soundgarden could never regroup.
Yeah. I mean, the only person they could fill in would be Richie Kotzen, because he sounds exactly like Chris Cornell. But William Duvall, the thing I love about him is that he's not trying to imitate.
No.
Singing his way, he's singing his way.
Yeah.
And his way fits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just his actual vocal range fits. And I think it's a great thing. But I mean, I've seen both incarnations. I saw them at Maxwell's in Hoboken.
Okay.
Right as Facelift dropped.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I was like 14 or 15. I snuck in. You know what I mean?
Wait, you saw Alice in Chains with Lane Staley at Maxwell's?
Yeah, Maxwell's.
Wow.
In Hoboken. That's the joys of being a little chubby and a little tall when you're 15 years old, and you can sneak into some places every once in a while.
That's a hell of a venue to see a band like that.
It was wall to wall people. I'll never forget that. But then I saw them a couple times, and then I think I've seen them 3 times with the new singer as well.
Yeah, they're good. That Black Gives Way to Blue is a good album. You know, Devil Put Dinosaurs Here is a pretty good. Yeah, they got some good songs on there, you know, but I always circle back to Jar of Flies. You know, I can put that in, and the only thing I don't like about it is it's so short. It's like 30 minutes. Yeah, you know, but I could sit there and listen to that every single day. I'll never get sick of it. Rotten Apple is a fantastic opening song. You know,
I bought that and Sap as a double LP.
Oh, that's great stuff.
Sap too. It was like $40. I'm like, there's 9 songs. Why is this $40? You know?
Yeah, but Sap is another good one, man. They got some really good songs on there. You know, but
Heaven Beside You is on there, I believe, right?
No, Heaven Beside You is on there.
The self-titled.
Yeah, with the three-legged dog.
And that's an album that I think doesn't get enough credit.
It was a good album. That was when they first. That was their last album. You know that. With Lane, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was.
And they were at that point fighting a lot, they were saying, and the first song that they open up with on that album, Grinds, they said it was about how the media portrayed them in a certain way and how they didn't want to be portrayed that way, and it was kind of like not an FU to the media, but just to let them know they're still here, you know, and they're not going anywhere. So
it's a great song.
Yeah.
There's so many. Like the Alice in Chains to me is one of the bands that totally defines the '90s for me.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, there's so many good bands out of the '90s, but when you hear '90s like metal or rock or whatever, you think Alice in Chains, right? You know, you can't not.
I can still hear it. Like now we have all the sophisticated technology. We have like the turntables and the receivers and all this stuff, and you can blast as loud as you want. I can still hear wood being played out of my '86 Camry with one speaker that worked in the back right corner. And I still hear it in that way, you know. I mean, that's how long I've been listening to this band. I just can't not love that band.
Exactly. And that's
Damian,
exactly right. Yes, sir.
Someone who doesn't know you, okay?
Everyone that's watching this, you mean?
Right. Besides that genre of music, who, like, off the beaten track, who else would you listen to? Like, Sean is a major Mariah Carey fan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think everybody does that. Yeah.
Who else are you listening to?
I'll tell you what, man. I love 50s.
You would never think you would listen to this band.
I love 50s music. I could put a 50s station on and listen to that all day. I love bands like Everly Brothers, you know, Creedence. There's so many older bands that were so good.
Guitar driven.
And you know, vocally driven. Like, and when you're younger, you probably don't like these types of bands, you know, but when you start getting older, you start appreciating music more and you listen to stuff. It's like, they're really good songs. They, you know, a lot of the songs back then had meaning. You know, just, you know, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. I mean, how can you not listen to them? Their harmonies are just crazy, you know. Right. Anything with harmony, I love. I kind of tend to gravitate to, you know, but anything like that. I mean, any classic stuff like that. But I love 50 stuff, man. So if I were to give you a specific band, it's tough. But you put me in a room with a 50 station on, I'll whatever, you know, I'll listen to it the whole time.
Could you listen to the Bee Gees?
You know what? They were very talented musicians.
Right.
When they played acoustic guitar, like before they became disco, they were awesome.
Even after they put out some live music,
Yeah,
where they're playing their instruments and they're playing acoustic guitar, and it still sounds amazing.
It's crazy how awesome they were, and they just got sucked into, you know, someone threw them millions of dollars and said, "Here, you do disco now," and they did it. But you can't deny that they weren't great singers. All, you know, even the youngest one that wasn't in the Bee Gees, you know.
Yeah. Did you guys watch the Prince tribute the other night?
I didn't watch that one. I missed it. I saw the New Jersey for New Jersey one, and I saw the other one last week.
The New Jersey one was kind of off, I think.
It was, you know, it felt like there wasn't enough. Like I thought that, you know, you think New Jersey, of course, Springsteen and Bon Jovi, yeah, who doesn't? But then there's more out there. I mean, that's where you're kind of really.
I like Fountains of Wayne.
Yeah, Fountains of Wayne. They
did a great job.
Yeah. But
it was kind of sad seeing. You can tell they were definitely a little defeated when they were playing. You know what I mean?
Of course,
it's definitely tough,
but I didn't see the Prince one. But yeah,
it was good. It was. I mean, Prince is one of my favorites, and like that's another one you don't realize like how much amazing music this man has written. Not only for him, but like for other bands like Sheila E. and Morris Day in the time and stuff. And they all. John Legend was horrific.
I didn't hear. Yeah, I didn't hear.
Ooh.
You didn't like seeing his man tits on
Listen, it made me feel a little better about myself. I will tell you that. But yeah, he did Nothing Compares to You, and it was just off from the first note.
Comedy like dress that way from now on.
Well, you should.
Yeah, no shirt, but a blazer.
That might work.
Yeah,
that might work.
That's gonna be my thing.
Well, you know, Bert Kreischer has the machine. What would you be called?
I'd be
the pea shooter. The pea shooter. Yeah. But yeah, it was. I mean, the Foo Fighters came on, did Darling Nikki, which was great. And then there was. I mean, I don't know if you're a fan of her. Have you ever seen her?
I don't think so.
Really, really good. She's an R&B singer, but she plays like 7 instruments, like Prince. Like Prince plays fucking 60 instruments or whatever.
Yeah.
She plays all of it. She plays guitar, bass, drums, everything. She's really, really talented. She was on there. But getting back to Pearl Jam. This is an argument that I have with a lot of people. I like Pearl Jam a lot. I really do. And I make fun of Pearl Jam, you know, just because my friends love them so much. But the first 3 albums are friggin' amazing.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's every 3rd album, which is good.
Yeah. You know, you hear that a lot. You know, some bands, when they get so successful, they can put out whatever and people are going to eat it up, you know. I think they just got to a point where they just got bored. Like their new song, can't think of the name of it, but it's like an 80s tribute song, you know.
The Talking Heads song.
Yeah, and you know what? At first I didn't like it, and then I listened to it. I kind of dig it, you know.
It's so different. Like Lightning Bolt to me was a great album.
Yeah.
I love Lightning Bolt, and I was lucky enough to get an early copy of the new one, and I was just like, all my Pearl Jam friends were like, "Can I have a copy?" I'm like, "You really don't want to rush."
Yeah, it's you know, the thing is too. I mean, they've been doing it since they were in their late 20s. They're in their mid to late 50s. How much do you just keep writing? I mean, they write so many songs. When they play shows, they play for 3 hours. I mean, what else are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna keep writing the same stuff over and over for 30 years.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just for me, it's like you at least want like one standout song or one or two standout songs, and there was just nothing on this last album for me.
Yeah, it wasn't. I think that's, you know, when you talk about any bands, you know, that's why I try to look at music more as a time period thing. And what I mean by that is, you know, I was talking about this, like now that we're all home, you know, I got on that bandwagon of playing live at my house. You know, this is the room I use I'm in now, but the other night I played a couple of songs from a band called Sponge, and
love Sponge.
I mean, they were their album Rotting Pinata. Talk about an album, another one that I could just listen to whenever.
Sure.
I got their second album, Wax of Static.
What's the song?
Plowed. They had
Plowed. Yeah.
Molly.
Right.
Yeah, Molly. I played that one, and then but the thing about that album is like their first 2 albums, Wax of Static was okay, but then talking about how Pearl Jam, you know, they kind of trailed off. Like I didn't really buy any of their other albums, but if you put that Rotting Pinata album on, I'm all about it. Like,
I have a strange Sponge story. I saw them on the Wax Ecstatic tour at Birch Hill, and I love them. I really did. I love that second album too.
Yeah.
And what was his name?
Dombrowski or something like Vinny
something like that.
Dombrowski?
Yeah, Vinny Dombrowski or something like that.
Yeah.
Kevin Dombrowski's brother.
It could be. It could very well be. but like he was all like I was right on the rail and I was singing along to Wax Ecstatic. I think it just came out, and he jumped right down the landing and he starts singing with me and puts the microphone there and I'm singing, and then he stops and then kissed me right on the lips.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because he went
definitely got a hepatitis shot after that. Hepatitis.
You stay in touch with him after that or no?
No, he never returned my phone calls. Actually,
dated for a short while.
Rock stars.
Rock stars.
I think we're going back to Pearl Jam for a second. I think their best album to me was their first album.
Yeah, 10 was.
It's kind of hard to kind of like, that's your best album, and never kind of like get past that.
I go Versus for their best album.
Yeah,
but Versus is a good one too.
You got to look at you got to look at their best like bands that have their best album, and then what if they didn't put that one out yet until today? Would it hold up? So if 10 came out today, would that be as phenomenal, or would it just?
It would never get the airplay.
That's what I'm saying. Would it, or it just
nobody
got
would ever know
it at the time, and they were the better of all the other bands that were shooting out of Seattle at the time,
sure.
or the top echelon. Because there were a lot of other good bands. Like Screaming Trees was good.
Mudhoney.
Yeah, Mudhoney was good. There were a lot of good. Even what's their name? I'm drawing a blank here, but they're from Seattle too. They have the song "You." Candlebox. They were from Seattle, but no one even really knew because they weren't grunge. They were, they just played rock, rock music.
Yeah, they were more rock.
Yeah, they were kind of hard to put into a box.
Yeah.
Where you gonna play them? What station? Who you gonna play them with?
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and Far Behind are two of the big rock songs of the 90s.
Yeah.
They really were. Second album, again, they trailed off with that album Lucy, and nobody
cared,
And they just re-recorded the whole first album, I believe.
Yeah.
I put them in the same category as a band you talked about on one of your 7 o'clock shows. You talked about Collective Soul and why they never made it anything.
They were good, yeah, man.
They're still a great band, man. They just put out an album like 2 years ago, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. Collective Soul was really good. Yeah.
I've always dug them. There's so many bands that like, and this is one of the things I talked about was underrated bands.
Yeah.
I always put Collective Soul in there. And Better Than Ezra was another band that I always
they were pretty good.
Loved Better Than Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have broken down a little bigger, but I think that was right at the time where it was starting to have that trend where the rock was kind of dying off a little bit.
Like that's what happened with the 80s bands.
What's the outlet that you're gonna play a band like Better Than Ezra? Like they had the big song Good, but then they also had a song called The King of New Orleans.
Yeah, that's a great song.
And a couple of other songs. And it's like, where can you play them? How could they? What genre would you categorize them as? And you can't, and therefore they kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
And the music is great.
Yeah, I mean, their album Friction Baby it still gets played a lot in my household. But I want to touch a little bit on your songwriting because I'll break down the fourth wall. I know Damian's a friend of mine. And he's played in a couple different variations of bands with friends of mine as well. How do you approach your songwriting? Do you try to, if you're in a band, do you just write the stuff and say, here is what I wrote, or do you try and write more collaboratively?
It really depends. When I first started just writing music, I had no idea how to do it. It's I think like many people, and you just start writing and listening to other songs that you really like and try to figure out like, oh wait, they went this way with the song, so I can do that too, or I can play the same thing over and over and over again, and that's great for this song, but I can't do that every song, But I think it's a mix. It depends. Like sometimes you go on a writing spree. I'm sure you guys as comedians, you may have 10,000 ideas in your head one day, and you write down 1,000,000 of them. Even though I said 10,000 million, you do the math. But if you you write down everything, and then you're set to go. You're like, wow, I have so much material. And I think writing music's the same way. Like some days, man, you just pump out songs, and you don't have time to wait and collaborate because you just have so many ideas. And then there are other times where you just kind of sit around and it's kind of like a dry well for a little while. And you need other people to kind of, even if something starts with a bass line, like, oh, then you can write a whole song off that bass line. But if it wasn't for that bass line, you'd have no idea, or a vocal. Like, here, this is how I want to sing this. Okay, great. Let me see if I can write music to it, So, what I've learned over the years, and I'm still learning, but there's no one right way to write. So whatever makes the song go, sometimes you can pump a song out in 5 minutes. Sometimes you write it, you start it now, and in 5 years from now, you go back to it and go, oh, wait, that was a good riff. Why did I stop writing? Because you just run out of ideas for that particular riff, you know?
Yeah, I mean, when I was playing, I would always write with my guitar player, and like that's how it was. That was the basis of how we did it. But like now, I've been catching myself. I've been writing a lot more, which is very weird. And I mean, I was more of the rock, hard rock kind of genre. But like now, for me, the only thing that's coming out for me lyrically is like pop country, and it could be possibly because I'm listening to a lot more of that, and I'm more influenced by it. But for me, like I wouldn't know how to just send those lyrics now to like to you or to you know my guitar player. Like it's very different for me because now like you're saying, you can just sit down and write. I'm not a great guitar player, so like I can't put the music behind it, but I can give you a stack of papers and say, here's the melody. You see where the pre-chorus is, you see where the bridge is, like that. And then you figure it out the rest of it. But I always thought it was a very interesting process, how everybody's different.
It is, and I think that's, you know, that's what makes writing music so great, because when you collaborate with other people and you really touch a nerve with whatever you're feeling at the time or whatever's going on. I mean, that's a special thing, you know. People don't realize it, and I think that's, a lot of musicians have a lot of good connections with each other, because I mean, you're expressing yourselves to each other, you know, in a certain way. And when you really write a song that clicks, it's like, if you do it collaboratively, especially, it's such a great feeling. You know, you feel like you hit something out of the park. You know, it's such like an accomplishment. But you know, for me, I think the advantage, or however you want to look at it, for me was that, you know, I play guitar, I sing, and I played bass for a while. So I kind of throw all that together in my head when I'm writing. I don't just sit there and write just the guitar part. Like, I'm writing the guitar part down, but I'm thinking of the entire song in my head while I'm doing it. I just can't write music. I can't read music, you know? So I start with, oh, that's a, you know, G, D, C. That's how I'm going to do this song. But in my head, I have a walking bass line going. I have a drum beat. So I can't write all that down. That's where the collaborative comes in. So even if I have like, hey, listen, this is what I have for the band, and here's the chord progression. This is what I want to do. Why don't you guys add whatever you want? And I was never really a dictator. Like, no, the bass line has to be like this. It's, if I'm presenting the guitar part and the vocals, you write what you want to write to it, how you feel. You know, needs to, you know, whatever you feel needs to be there. And I have to trust. That's why we're in a band. I trust that you're going to play your part the way you should play your part, you know? And then, I'm sorry.
I'm going to say the one common thread I can see between writing comedy and writing music is you write when the inspiration strikes you. Otherwise, you'll lose it and you never really fully get it back.
No, it's true. I mean, and that's what I was saying before. Sometimes you write and things sit shelved for years. And then when you're writing another song, it's like, wait, what if I take the chorus from that one song that I kind of didn't like the song, but I liked the chorus, but now I like the verse. So let's put them together and see if they work. And sometimes they don't. You know, listen, if everything worked for me, I'd be making millions of dollars doing this instead of, you know, trying to play at a local bar that closed down recently. You know, that's the reality of it. But, you know, people used to say to me over the years, like, oh, what do you plan on doing with this? Like, nothing. I just plan on playing, you know, and I'm going to keep writing. It's such a great, as you guys know, I mean, when you write something and you get out there and you perform in front of people, it's such a great feeling. So whether it's, you know, one person or 50 people, you know, you just got to go out there for that one. Even if one person shows up, play for them like there's a million people watching, you know. That's
what I live by, whether it's 20 people or 2,000, you're getting the same show no matter what.
Exactly. So why should they suffer because you didn't bring enough people there? Let them, like, here, this is for you now. This show's for you. So get, you know, sit down and relax, you know. I've had a lot of experience with
comedians kind of like live by that.
Yeah, we pretty much do. Like, I had to do a fundraiser the other night online, doing this on Zoom. It was very weird because I hadn't been on stage in a month. So I in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm rusty, you know, even though I'm talking like a moron every night, but it's different. I'm like, I'm not regimented. I do a lot of crowd work. So like, I can't look at a screen and point and start talking, you know? So it was a little different for me. Like, we had this 90 people in a Zoom room, all just watching me, and like, you're doing your act and then you just can't hear any reaction. I mean, Jeff's used to that, but you just don't hear any. It was so, because
I'm used to this, Damian.
I know. The short time that I've known Sean, we know. I know how he is.
I'm a dick, but
if he didn't say that to me, it means he wouldn't like me.
That's true.
It's all out of love.
I think that's true.
If I don't pick on you, then you know it's an issue. But it was so
strange. You really like me then.
I might be a man crush at this point. But they had 90 microphones muted, so like I couldn't see the reaction. But like, so what I did, Jeff, was I put two of the other comics on the bottom. Now, you know, comics don't really laugh at anything because we're miserable pricks. and I saw them two laughing, so I knew I was getting some sort of reaction.
Right.
But
do you think it'd be really, really cheesy of you to have like a laughing track on your phone and then make a joke and then hit the button? Is that really, really bad to do?
You know what though? I might do it because I have two more of these coming up.
Just because it's so stupid that it would make people laugh at how stupid it is.
And I'm not like a prop guy either, but like I brought props out because I was going on first, you know.
Carrot
so like,
top? All right.
no, what I did was I made it topical. So like the first thing I did was thank you all for coming in the room, but hold on, I sprayed the whole thing with Lysol, just like stupid shit like that. You're going to see a lot of that in the next 6 months, believe me. So give me a band that you love now.
That's
a new band.
Dude, one of my cousins rips me for this because I don't listen to a lot of new stuff. I am still stuck in the, I have the bands I like to listen to. I'll just keep going back to them. It's so bad. I'm terrible. People ask me like, oh, who still influences you today? Like I don't really listen to much today.
There's a lot of people who like that though. Like I tend to go into that direction too. Like I'll hear. We've had an argument, me and Jeff, about Greta Van Fleet. I can't stand them.
Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, they're all right.
I like them.
You like them. And I just think
I like them when they play live. And if you're gonna rip off a band, what better band to rip off than Zeppelin?
Yeah.
But like I hear, like here's a band I think you'll like. It's called Dirty Honey. It's kind of like that same Zeppelin-ish vibe, but it's not as directly ripped off, I would say.
It's my, I really should listen to more. The problem with me is, there's a lot of problems with me, but for this specific topic here, I don't have, it's not that I don't have time. I don't want to sit there and try to listen to new stuff, which I know sounds crappy. I want to listen to what I want to listen to. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get to a point where when I have a few minutes to do something, I want to, play the guitar instead of sitting down and go, oh, I'll listen to this new stuff. Not for any specific reason. I don't hate new music because I don't really know what's out there. The only thing I can think of though.
Where you finding new music, Damian?
Everything will be online now. Anything YouTube. If there's a little thing on the bottom of the screen, say, "Oh, check this band out," I might check it out for a second.
It's too much work now to find new music.
I think that's it too. And the fact that people don't really play out as much, obviously before all this pandemic stuff, but it used to be a big deal to go to concerts. And I feel like newer bands, I've never really got drawn to them. Like I saw Seven Dust about a year ago. It was the first time I ever saw them. And it was one of my best shows I've ever been to in my life. And they've been around forever, but for me, I was like, holy crap. It was almost like a new band for me. But I mean, they opened up with the song Black, which is one of their biggest hits. That's almost like saying, here's our best song, but we have even more good songs that you're going to sit there and listen to. Yeah. I mean, that's ballsy, but they were so good. And I was like, I was there with my cousin and I was like, they opened up a Black. He's like, you wait till you see the entire show. And I was just blown away. But I don't know if I want to, at my age now, spend money to go see a new band where I don't think I'll get that feeling. Time is precious now. We're getting older. So like if I go see a show, I want to know that I'm going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like,
how about new music from an older established band?
Well, that's there you go with the new Pearl Jam album. Like I bought that because I'm a Pearl Jam fan. I feel like it's at this point I bought pretty much all their albums. I'm not going to give up now, but I still kind of listen to any band. Like I like that band. I just look at the CD over there, Static X. And when the lead singer passed away, I was following their shows online with the new singer, like, and how they're doing it. And it's crazy how he sounds just like him.
It was so good.
The way they make the guy up to look on stage looks like Wayne Static, like from afar. And to me, that's amazing. So I love looking at stuff like that. But I think I got sucked into with this particular topic is YouTube. And I just kind of click through some things, and I'll click through cover songs of bands, and I'll take a look at that, and I'll see if it's a song I really want to learn how to play. I'll look it up, like a Cure song or something like that. I'll check it out real quick.
Why did you pick the Cure just there?
Because I cover one of their songs, so I just thought of it.
Which song is it?
Love Song.
Oh, great song! I love the Cure.
Could I twist your arm?
Twist my arm?
Could I twist your arm to reach behind you and grab your guitar and play it?
Do you want me to do that now?
Yeah,
good. I'd love to hear. Awesome. Love to hear you do a song. You'd be the second person to ever perform on this.
I could do that if you want to give me a second. I can't guarantee it's going to sound great, but
listen.
All right, give me a second here.
Sure. Do you like the Cure?
I love The Cure.
Oh, I thought you asked me.
I just got Disintegration on vinyl. I think
that's probably my favorite Cure album.
Yeah, it's a great album. They just re-released it for like the 30th anniversary of it.
Is there a headier, more moodier song than Prayers for Rain?
That's a great one. That is a great one. You're talking about cover songs too. Like there was a band a long time ago that covered a Cure song. I didn't even know it was a Cure song. It was called a band called Oleander.
Oh, but yeah, for you.
They did Boys Don't Cry.
Oh, great song. Yeah.
A great, and let me tell you something. They took it from the real poppy synth vibe to a rock song. It's a real bitchin' rock song. So check that out if you haven't. But the Cure is one of those bands like from like that whole Smiths era. That's the only one that I really liked.
Okay. Yeah, because remember you said you didn't like the Smiths, but I love the Cure. I saw them a bunch of times. I saw them on the Kiss Me tour, and they opened up with a song called The Kiss. And you talk about a heavy, moody, melodic song. That's a great one. Check that one out.
Yeah, I definitely will. I really kind of stopped after that album, but that's one of those bands I really like going. I'll go back to every once in a while.
Here's Damian. He's going to do Adele's love song.
Adele's love song.
Adele covered it.
Yeah, that was a good. We were going to do that with a friend that Sean and I have in common. She and I were going to do that song, and we were going to record like a bunch of stuff. And she wanted to do the version from Adele. And
nice.
The guitar part's different.
Version.
Yeah, it's the guitar part's it's weird. It's like I honestly I had to watch the video and watch the guy play it because I can't read music, so I have to watch and see how they do it. But watching the guy play, it was like there were two guitars and it just sounded fantastic. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it like that, But can you hear the guitar pretty good? I guess.
I hear you. You're fine.
I'm gonna try to do this. I have lyrics in front of me, so I'm gonna be looking down. I'm not like spacing out or anything. But let's see. I haven't played it in a while, but let's do it anyway. All right.
Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am young again. Whenever I'm alone with you, you make me feel like I am fun again. However far away, I will always love you. However long I stay, I will always love you. Whatever words I say, I will always love you. I will always love you.
Very nice. I like to think that he was actually singing that to me personally.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to also add that I didn't plan on playing today, so I hope that sounded right. Yeah, I know.
That would have been great on that New Jersey show last night.
I'll tell you what, if they would have said, "Hey, we're just gonna pick a random guy's name out of a hat," and it was me, I totally would have did that.
Absolutely.
That would have been so appropriate, man. That was awesome. You got to stop. This is what you should be doing.
You know, if I could do it and get make a living, I would totally do it. I just, I hit late. I didn't start till I said earlier, 19, and I'm still learning. I mean, that was very pitchy in my mind. Like I can definitely hear where I went wrong. But
I've been hearing you sing for 10 years, dude. You sounded perfect.
I know, but thanks, man. I
That's
appreciate
a great
that.
thing about live music, that it's not perfect. And it still sounded beautiful.
Yeah. My problem for me is that I'm a perfectionist when I play.
Sure.
So like people ask me, like when I did my last show, they were throwing out like I told them to give me some song, some songs they want me to play, and if it's something that there's no way I'm gonna be able to pull it off, and I hate to turn it down, but I tell them like, listen, man, there's no way I'm gonna be able to play that song, But I just realized, good thing I was wearing pants today because I went over there. I just realized I was probably showing you.
I did an interview with my friend Jess Miller, who was a comedian. She asked me to do a thing called Half Naked Conversations. So I'm like, well, I'm wearing pants. And so we were just talking about old cell phones. She goes, hold on a second, I have it. Now, the thing about Jess Miller is that she looks like me. We have this ongoing joke. Like I did a show with her, and I walked in, we had the same outfit on. Like literally the same shirt, the same pant, everything. And we looked at each other like weird. But like she got up and then she went into her kitchen and she had on like boxers. And I was like, you do realize you can call it Half Naked Conversations, but you should probably still wear pants.
Yeah. No, I know I just but thanks for letting me. I love playing, man. And I was saying earlier, like I started when I was 19, man. I wish I started earlier, but things were different then. I probably wouldn't be where I am now musically if I started earlier. I probably would have taken a different, branch.
I started comedy at 32.
Yeah. No, I know.
You know what I mean?
It's never too late. The problem is, how do you get fans when you're older? No one wants to see old people playing, So, I'm in my 40s now. So in 10 years from now, I still plan on playing. But who's going to come out to see it, And then, you turn 60, then it's like, Jesus Christ. Like Bruce Springsteen last night, he's 70. The guy is 70 years old. And he's starting to look it too, but there he is banging out a song. It's like, and this is all he does, for a living. So, I mean, he's also Springsteen. So, take it as you will.
Well, tell us about your band that you're doing now.
The band I'm doing now is with Marc. I'm sorry, I texted him. I have fucking no idea where he is, but it's called Acoustic Vendetta. And a couple of years ago, Marc reached out to me. And as I said, we grew up together. He lived a few blocks away from me. Like his dad was my football coach, and I've known his family. Our families go way back, so I knew that he's been playing music forever. I knew he was a fantastic musician. So when he reached out to me out of nowhere, I was actually. It wasn't that I wanted to say no, but I'm like, really? You want to play? Like, I'll do it. Like, but you really want me to play? Because then I'm thinking he's going to want to do covers. And that's what he said up front. And I'm thinking, all right, covers, but he likes thrash metal. He's in Soulfly. I mean, what covers do you want to do? Then he started throwing out, let's do some Whitesnake. Let's do some Bon Jovi. I was like, really? And he said, yeah, he goes, let's do all these songs. So, I mean, we do In the Air Tonight from Phil Collins. We do Planet Caravan from Sabbath. I mean, we just do so many really cool covers that I really, not to say I wasn't expecting them, but some of them I weren't. I mean, we did Free Falling from Tom Petty. I mean, so anyway, so this, so going back a few years, and he reached out, he's like, yeah, he goes, if you want to do this, man, he goes, listen, I'll get us shows. He's like, all you got to do is show up and play. I mean, the hardest thing for the project is, with the exception of now, he's always on tour. So it's like he comes home, there's a small window where we have maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month where we can book a show or two. He books them when he's on tour. He has somebody here that does it for him. Then he'll reach out to me and say, hey, you good for like a Sunday night at 9 o'clock? And, sometimes I have to say no because I work, Monday morning, but it was a great gig to get on. I was surprised that he wanted to, have me play, especially because no one knows who I am. So now we're playing shows.
He knows you and you're good.
No, but good. I mean, like when we go out to play, I mean, he's got his fans. So it's like, hey, Marc Rizzo from Soulfly and this guy, Damian, like who, no one knows. They go to see him play his solo. So what we do is
to show him when he comes out with me.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But so we'll play, when we play a song or something, it is a lot of soloing involved. And like Sean said earlier, I mean, the guy is talk about underrated musician. I mean, he is just a fantastic guitar player. And to me, when he asked me to go up on stage with him, I didn't know if I'd be able to hang up there. You know, I'll be honest with you. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pull this off me. This guy's fantastic, but the thing is he's good in his way. He does what he's got to do, and I can keep a rhythm. You know, I could sit there and play 4 chords over and over again as long as you need me to do it. You know, so it worked out. And the good thing about playing with him too is, I mean, he gets the fans to come, so I get to meet a lot of his fans. A lot of them sometimes think I'm like part of Soulfly. I have to tell them like, no, I have nothing to do with Soulfly. I've known Marc since we were little. It's just, you know, it's just a circumstance of how we live close together, you know, geographically. But you know, playing the shows is great because even if my voice is hurting or something, you know, from allergies or I'm sick or it's just I lose my voice, you know, I can sing a verse and he'll solo for like 5 minutes, and then I can sing another verse, you know, so it's perfect. It's like, and that's what we do. And so a 5-minute song could be 15 minutes, you know, because he just keeps jamming out, and we turn into his big jam. And he gets his buddy from 40 Below Summer, the drummer for them now, Anthony DeVizio, he plays djembe most of the time, you know, and sometimes he gets other guest percussionists, but this he's a human metronome, man. He's awesome, and he can sing some backing vocals. So the thing about this project is we never rehearse. Like, so it's just like, all right, we're going to play a show this week. So I'll sit home and run through some songs. He'll run through some songs when he's on tour. But when he comes back, it's time to go, you know, and we just play, and then that's it. And then, all right, man, I'll see you when you get back from tour, you know, and he comes, you know, but I'm hoping that once all this stuff clears, I'm going to start playing out myself, you know, but the hardest thing for me was I didn't have a sound system. So about a year ago, I tried to buy something from Amazon, and it just, you know, disappeared. It never got to my house. So I was like, maybe I'll take that as a sign to not do it yet, you know. And but once all this stuff clears up, I kind of like doing the online thing. I'm not gonna lie, because there's really no pressure, and I could sit here and do whatever. But I miss being in front of crowds. I'm sure you guys do. Whether it's, you know, whether it's people that are just sitting there at the bar drinking, ignoring you. But my favorite part of the nights is when I'll play a song and those people will turn around and clap because they were actually listening. And I just love that. It's like, all right, go back to your drinks and just sit back and relax. I'll play a couple more songs. And, you know, the one place we play over in Lodi, I mean, they love us when we're there. So I do an open mic there when they had the open mics, and you just get such a good response, and it's such a local crowd, and I love it. And, you know, people my age, people that just love live music, and it's just such a fun time. I mean, I'll tell you what, if I didn't start playing music, I have no idea what I'd be doing myself. I have no idea.
What I'd like to expect here is, when this is all said and done, I'd love to have you come out to Linden, New Jersey, to Comedy Under the Stars, and do a couple of songs.
I'll do whatever, man. I'll play. Look, I'm one of those people that just tell me where to go. If I can make it work or I can get there, I will play. You know, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, we'll definitely make that happen.
Yeah. I mean,
you don't think that I'm there.
Yeah, but yeah. No, I definitely want to do that. I mean, Sean and I briefly were trying to do a band together. Remember, I was going to play bass for a little bit, and then I was going to play guitar for a little bit.
My voice wasn't there. Listen, I was the first person to admit, like, I was the weak link in that, you know. And it's just the truth. I mean, my voice was just different at that time, and now I'm more comfortable. But listen, thank you for coming on and spending.
No, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you.
You know, anytime you want me to do this, you know, obviously. It's not going to be every week, but if there's ever another time in the future you guys are like, hey man, we needed a guest, if you're around, you know,
man, this was a lot of fun.
Definitely do it, man. I enjoy doing stuff like this. So yeah.
Now, does Acoustic Vendetta have a Facebook page?
We do. It is Acoustic Vendetta, I believe. I think it's facebook.com/Acoustic Vendetta. We haven't really been updating it too much because obviously we don't have much going on, but there are some live performances of us on there. There's YouTube. If you YouTube, when this project first started, it was Marc Rizzo's Acoustic Vendetta. He's the one that changed it to just Acoustic Vendetta. So he didn't want to be the
solid.
Yeah, like he was just like, no. He goes, we're all in this band. He goes, we're not doing that. So now it's just Acoustic Vendetta. But if you go to YouTube and put in like Marc Rizzo's Acoustic Vendetta, you'll see some of our first shows. I mean, it was good. We were getting shows in the city. We were getting shows all over the place. He got us playing. He had a show booked for us in Connecticut. He had a show booked for us in New Hampshire. You know, it was just crazy. He had us, or Rhode Island rather, and he had us going all over the place. But, you know, obviously I'm confined to where I can go. I can't just drop everything I'm doing and go. But if there's, you know, once this all blows over, if we can get back out there, man, I can't wait to do it.
Awesome, man. Well, Damian, Daniello, thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Thank you all so much, man. If there's anything else you can do, just let me know.
Absolutely. Guys, check out Who's Your Band on YouTube. This video will be up tomorrow.
We're back on Podomatic as well.
Yes, we're on Podomatic, we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on whatever else is out there. But we have some great shows coming up soon. Once again, Damian, thank you very much for coming on. My name is Sean Morton, and for Jeffrey Paul, thank you for checking out the show.
Thanks, guys.
And Marc also, Marc Rizzo.
Yeah.
Marc Rizzo, absolutely. Even though he's his phone dropped, and you know, that was it.
I have no idea.
I was very happy for him to come on for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And listen, it was a great show.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Take care.